In this video, we'll be going over how to set up the different survey question types within Zamplo Research. To learn more about the different types of questions that can be created and why you may want to use certain question types, watch our other video on survey questions. To begin, open Zamplo Research and select the study profile from the Study Profile dropdown at the top. Navigate towards a new survey by clicking the Study Setup dropdown and selecting Surveys. Then select New Survey. Scroll down below Consent Forms and click on the Select Type dropdown. Here's where you will see the various question types that can be created. The question types available within Zamplo Research are Single Selection, Multiple Selection, Slider Visual Analog Scale, Symptom Slider, Long Answer, Descriptive Section, Survey Table, and Symptom Mapping Image. Now that we know the type of questions we can use, let's see how we can set them up within Zamplo Research. To begin, let's go over some of the common features between question types. All question types will be selected using the Select Type dropdown. Within a question, in the top left, you will see a dropdown that determines the order that the question will appear in. You can use this to change the order of the questions, which allows you to create the questions in any order you choose. On the right side, you will see a check mark next to Required. You can select this option if you want this to be a mandatory question that participants have to fill out. Please note that for survey tables, this option is automatically set to Required. Next to that, in every question type except survey tables is a photo icon. This allows you to select an image to accompany a question. Adding a photo can help provide additional information to participants or can be used as part of the question. Next to that is a copy icon. Clicking this icon will allow you to copy all the information from the current question into a new question. Finally, next to that is a trash icon, which allows you to delete a question. Another common feature you will notice in all question types, with the exception of survey tables, is the branching option. Branching within questions allows you to dictate the survey path a participant follows, so they only answer questions relevant to them. You can select Next Question or Skip to Question. By selecting Next Question, when a participant completes the current question, they will be sent to the next question as outlined by the numbered order in the top left. By selecting Skip to Question, when a participant completes the current question, they will be sent to the question of your choosing or can be sent to the end of the survey. When sending a participant to the end of the survey, they will be sent to the last question. If you don't want them to complete a question, you can select a descriptive question type and thank the participant for their time. An additional option exists for single selection questions called Skip to Question based on selected option. This allows you to choose the next question a participant goes to based on how they answered the current question. For example, if they selected the first answer, we could send them to question 2. But if they selected the second answer, we could have them skip question 2 by sending them straight to question 3. Please note that if you reorder the survey, you will need to update the branching options. It's also important to note that with survey branching, you can't jump backwards in a survey, and the last question in the survey cannot have a branching option. Now, let's take a closer look at how we can set up each question type. Single Selection. Within Zamplo Research, type in the question using this box, and enter the answer options by clicking Add Option. To remove an option, click the X next to it. If you want to allow participants the option to add their own answer, click the checkbox next to Allow users to add their answer. Participants can only select one answer. Multiple Selection. Multiple selection is set up the same way as single selection but uses checkboxes instead. Type in the question using this box, and enter the answer options by clicking Add Option. To remove an option, click the X next to it. If you want to allow participants the option to add their own answer, click the checkbox next to Allow users to add their answer. The participant will be able to select any answer that applies to them. Slider Visual Analog Scale. Type in the question you want to ask here. Next, set the minimum amount you want the value to be for the scale. Some common options may be 0 or 1. Add a description for the scale so participants know what that measure means. Then add in the maximum value you want the scale to have. Some common numbers for this may be 10 or 100. Add in a description for the maximum end of the scale for context. Since the scale is continuous, participants will be able to select an answer that is anywhere within the range you set. Symptom Slider. Type the name of the symptom you want to track. Then select one of the options for participant tracking, either the yes/no or the 0 to 10 options. The yes/no option will allow participants to either select yes or no to answer whether they are feeling the symptom or not. The 0 to 10 option allows participants to select the degree to which they are feeling the symptom. With the 0 to 10 option, you can add descriptions to give participants more information on what the values are associated with. This can include none, moderate, or severe. The participant can then select the answer most appropriate for them. Long answer. Type in the question you would like to have answered in this box. This allows the participant to type in the box that appears on their end with an answer that is relevant to them. Descriptive Section. Since this section works to provide more information to the participant, all you need to do is add a title here and the text you want participants to view here. This is how it will appear for participants. Survey Table. To begin, enter the title for the table. You can add in a description if you want to provide additional information. Now let's set the table up. The questions will go in the far left column, and the values, these are the answers participants can choose from, will be to the right of that. Let's say we want to provide 5 values for participants to choose from. We will change this number here to be 5. Now, let's add in our headings. When we select a box, new options will appear for us. These options will allow us to format our table, including the row color, row type, and allows us to add or delete a row. Let's keep this first row the same and add in our header text by clicking on each box. If we didn't want to include headers on the table, we can delete this row by selecting Delete Row. Next, let's add in a descriptive row. Click on one of the boxes in this row and then select Descriptive Row under the Row Type dropdown. Now I can add in my text. Next, let's input a question. We can select a single selection question, a multi-selection question, or a long answer question. For this example, let's select single selection for the first question, multi-selection for the second, and long answer for the next one. If I want to hide the question column, I can select this box here. Once my questions are input, I'm going to add in my values. For the values, I can include a number, repeat the header, or leave it blank, which will show up as a checkbox for the participant. Now that the table is set up, there is one other thing we should be aware of. Auto survey scoring assigns each column a number value that will calculate the total and subtotal scores of all survey responses during an export. Toggle this switch to turn auto scoring on or off. If it is toggled on, you can see a score value range is auto-populated, but you can also assign custom values as you see fit for the table you've created. You can optionally also add in a division total, which allows you to assign a value to divide the subtotal and total scores. Here's how the survey table will appear for participants based on how we have set it up. Symptom mapping image. To begin, enter a title and description relevant to the question based on your survey requirements. In our example, we'll use the title to provide directions for what we want participants to drop the pin based on, and then we'll use the description to provide further details on how and where to drop the pin. Next, upload the image you want the pins to be placed on by selecting Browse. For example, you may choose to upload a photo of the body, eye, or head to allow participants to place the pin in the area in which they are experiencing a symptom. Adjust or crop the image using the scale. To reset the adjustments to their original state, click the Reset button on the right. Once you are happy with the image, select Save. If you decide you want to change the image, you can select the Delete Image button in the bottom left and select a new image using the Browse button. Finally, select the pin color. It's important to choose a pin color that will stand out against the image you are using. For the participant, they will see the image you have selected and can then drop a pin onto the image to answer the survey question. And that's it. You now know the question types you can create within Zamplo Research.